up, NFL fans? Are you ready? This is the podcast on all things NFL. The fantasy football players you should sit, ones you should start, guest speakers, game recaps, pre-game predictions, plus live call-ins from viewers, and so much more. Welcome to NFL Talk Live with your hosts, Reigning Ravens 1 and Alex, a.k.a. PurpleSwordfish.
What's up, guys? Welcome back to another segment of NFL Talk Live, Week 5 edition. I'm your host, Reigning Ravens 1, my co-host, Alex, aka PurpleSwordfish, and our guest host of the week, none other than the NFL podcaster himself, KDG. You guys already know who me and Alex are. KDG, why don't you go ahead and give us an introduction? Tell us quickly what it is you do on your channel and where we can follow you.
Well, thanks for having me on. First and foremost, I just want to put that out there.
No problem.
But what I do, just in case you guys do not know me, I am a primary Packers channel. I cover most Packers news, information, anything of that sort. If you guys want to get a feel of your Packer information, just go ahead and check out the links. I'm pretty sure Reigning Ravens has it in the description below.
Yep.
But like Reigning Ravens also said, I do a NFL podcast myself. I tend to do it either Friday or Saturday, depending on my co-host availability, the Great Patriot. You guys can go ahead and check that out just in case you want a double dosage of NFL news, NFL talk before game day. So if you guys want to check that out, if you like anything, if there's something. Yeah.
Sorry, go ahead.
I was going to say, if there's anything that you got, like I said, if it's something that you guys like, go ahead and hit that subscribe button and come through.
Okay. And I was also going to say, I noticed immediately post-game, you also run a stream too, right? Talking about Packers?
Oh, yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, after Packer games, if I'm available,
I
have reaction to each of those games. So
okay. Cool, man. Good deal. So I figured before we get started with our show this week, I want to say on behalf of me and my co-host, our thoughts and prayers are going out to everyone affected by the Las Vegas massacre. The victims, the first responders, the police, the paramedics, the firefighters, all the local and federal agencies that came out to respond to the event. We just want you to know that on behalf of me and my co-host, you and everyone else that's affected are in our thoughts and prayers. With that being said, Week 4. Man, Week 4 is in the books. A quarter of the season is done with. Can you believe that? Feels like just the other day we were watching the draft, and now we're talking about a quarter of football being done with.
Hard to believe.
I know, right? Already. That's crazy.
Already. This season's taken off on us. It's going way too quick. Way too quick. And I think what adds to that, I know we talk about Thursday night football all the time, but I feel like what speeds up this NFL season is Thursday night. I think they should just do away with it completely. You know, I want to savor the moment. You know, I want to savor the football. I don't need it to be rushed. Anyway, Week 4.
That's shocking because, like, you were all about NFL every night a couple weeks ago.
I was, but then I realized how quickly this season's going by. You know, I like to savor it some more. I don't need football that much anymore. I know I'm doubling back on my comment, but you know, I see things for what they are now, and I see how much rest actually matters. You know, playing on a short week. There's plenty of teams this week playing on a short week, Sunday, and then you know, they need that break. They need that break. Week 4 was a wacky week. Starting off with that Thursday night game, I had this game being a close one. I didn't see the Packers going out 35-14. While this may be a win, KDG will be certainly the one to correct me on this because he is the big Packers fan here. While this certainly may be a big home win for Green Bay, it is really it feels like a loss after he lost Ty Montgomery. Would you agree?
You know what? I would have agreed with you had that if you guys haven't been paying attention on the injury reports in regards to the Green Bay Packers, actually both running backs that went out, Ty Montgomery and Jamal Williams, both of those guys were in practice. Now, Ty Montgomery is said he's possible to play this Sunday, but there's a good possibility that they probably will just keep him out as a precautionary. But Jamal Williams, his knee injury doesn't seem to be as bad as they thought it was. Even Devontae Adams, who went out from that hit, he is expected to play as well. So at first glance, it feels like it was a loss, even though you won the battle, but it feels like you lost the war. But those guys it seems like as though those guys will be available this Sunday. So we was able to get away with minor injuries instead of it being something long term. But I will keep my eye on Ty Montgomery, seeing as it is broken ribs. He is a running back. It's not the best combination for that position. So I won't be surprised if they keep him out this week.
Right. I honestly only have really one surprise, and I'll hand it off to you guys to tell me what your surprises of the week. My biggest surprise of the week, honestly, was the Texans putting up 57-14 against the Titans. Deshaun Watson. Wow. Man, is he the real deal? I don't know. Apparently he is. KDG, you are the guest of the week. What's your surprise of the week of week 4?
It's crazy. I was going to say the same thing. Texas putting up 57 on the Titans team. I guess I'll flip it around since you went with the Texans. I'll say my surprise would have been the Titans itself. It was a team that this year that they would make the next step, especially with Mariota coming back. I felt like last year they got robbed with him being injured. I felt like they had an opportunity to win that division. He went out late in the year. And so with the Titans giving up, 57 points, and then the week before, they ran through the Seattle Seahawks. I did not see them losing that game, not like that.
Right, I didn't either.
And so that would probably be my other surprise is that I thought they was making the next step. It's still early in the season, but I just felt like with them giving up that many points, it is some stuff that they had to go back and answer. And then Mariota went out again. So it might be a setback again.
It will be.
For that team. I just thought they would make that next step.
With him being out on that team. We're going to get into our Week 5 picks here shortly, and we'll talk about it. But, yeah, that's a big loss for that Titans team. Alex, what do you think? What was your biggest upset for Week 4?
Well, it's not just Week 4, but I got to say the Buffalo Bills. This was a team that I didn't see go into the playoffs, and right now they're sitting pretty in the AFC East. Mm-hmm. They are leading their division. Yeah. This team is on track to go to the playoffs, and I did not see the Bills going to the playoffs. They played very well against the Falcons, who I thought were the best team in the NFC. Granted, there was the injury to Julio Jones. I think that's going to really hurt the Falcons going forward, but the Bills, and I'll get to it a little bit later, really impressive.
Yeah, and you know what? We talk all the time on this podcast about the quality of win. Those Atlanta Falcons, they weren't chopped liver. That was a good team that they beat. And same thing last week. The Bills beat the Broncos. That was a good team that they beat. Yeah, Broncos are definitely looking like the best team in their division right now. Or not Broncos, sorry, the Bills. Bills are looking very, very good right now. Outside of that, though, if you're ready, we can continue on to Week 5.
Yeah, let's do it.
Okay.
Go ahead.
Oh, just one more thing, too. Another surprise I'm noticing here is the Seahawks-Colts game. Let me say, aside from the scoreboard, the scoreboard doesn't really tell the tale. 46-18, yeah, Seahawks win at home. But that's like, you watch the first half of that game, that's anybody's football. In fact, I think the Colts had the lead at the half. They played a very good game. Jacoby Brissett, he's holding it down as long as he could, as best as he could. So much respect going out to him. Week 5. We got some interesting matchups, and if you're Alex, a.k.a. PurpleSwordfish, look no further than the Thursday night game. The 2-2 New England Patriots taking on the 2-1 Tampa Bay Buccaneers. Man, oh man. I know we're going to be seeing some Twitter fingers tweets coming from Alex tomorrow night. Pat's defense right now, absolutely atrocious. We saw what Cam Newton did to him last week. Pat's defense ranked 32nd in the league right now, giving up a total, get this is the New England Patriots talking about here, through the first 4 weeks of football, they've given up 128 points so far. That's ridiculous. Bucs right now have the third best pass offense in the league, and their defense is second to last. So what's that mean? When you got two bad defenses facing each other, it means it's going to be a shootout. Definitely with Tom Brady, you're going to get that. And I think now with Jameis Winston, he's looking like he's in full form. He looks great, actually. He played a great game against the Giants last week. And then his receivers on the outside, dude, Deshaun Jackson, Cameron Brate, Mike Evans, it's going to be fun to watch them because, like I said, New England's defense not great. I think this game is going to come down to who can run the ball better. With that being said, Patriots. I'm taking the Patriots in this one. Sorry, Alex. What do you think?
Well, I know the Patriots go into this game a 6-point favorite, but I think the Bucs have a real good chance on Thursday Night Football. So the Patriots are the second worst defensive unit in the league in terms of points against. They have a short week to try and adjust to basically the Bucs offense, which has looked really good. Bucs looked really solid last week. The key for the Bucs is the same as it always is. Jameis Winston has to take care of the football. That's been their X factor for the last 2 years. So when he takes care of the football, they do usually win. I have the Bucs running the ball a lot, trying to control the pace with the return of Doug Martin. Let's make Doug Martin great again.
Okay.
And coming away with the upset in Tampa Bay.
Is Doug Martin your key start of the week? Is that what you're saying? If you're in fantasy, is Doug Martin your start of the week?
He's available in a lot of leagues. Might be a good guy to stash.
Okay. All right. KDG, what's your opinion on this Thursday night game?
Man, it's so hard for me to pick against the Patriots when they coming off a loss. I just can't see them losing back-to-back games. But this is not a normal year. This is a different year.
It is.
New England has been shaky. The defense is obviously the problem of this team. Tom Brady still looks like Tom Brady even at the age of 40. But they're on the road going up against the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. I'm going to pick the Buccaneers over the Patriots.
Okay. All right. So we got it looks like right out of the gates, we've already got separate predictions. I guess I'm the only one going with the Patriots. KDG and Alex both going with the Buccaneers. Moving over to Sunday, finally a Sunday morning where there is no football Sunday morning because there's no London games.
Thank goodness.
Finally,
right.
I'm not a big fan of the London games. I gotta be honest. We've got the 2-2 Arizona Cardinals taking on the 3-1 Philadelphia Eagles. Eagles playing at home in this one, and they're a strong favorite due to the fact that Carson Palmer and his Arizona Cardinals not playing well. Carson Palmer got destroyed last week in the pocket versus San Fran of all teams. And that's not a good recipe because we know one thing about Philly is they can really get after the quarterback. And again, we talk about qualities of wins and losses. Look at the last two Arizona Cardinals victories. They had to go in OT to win against those two wins they have on their schedule. They were both in OT, and they were against absolutely atrocious teams. I think Philadelphia is going to go 4-1 in this one. I'm taking Philly at home. Alex?
Yeah, so Cardinals are traveling across the country to face the Eagles, and the Eagles look like the best team in the NFC East. I really think they will win that division. Each week, the Eagles come through in crunch time. I think Carson Wentz is well on his way to hitting that elite tier of quarterbacks in the NFL. He looks better each week. That team's really just gelled. You know, they've dealt with some injuries, but they've really gelled. They look like a great unit. The Cardinals, meanwhile, they're really struggling with the loss of David Johnson. And no matter how good that defense is, they're going to have a hard time winning ball games if they move the ball like they did last Sunday, which wasn't very well. I mean, going into overtime, they only had field goals. I have the Eagles winning this one at home, and I have them covering the 6.5-point spread.
Okay. Any fantasy starters that you see for this one, for this matchup?
Oh, it's not a popular one, but I think Alshon Jeffrey will come through with a big game. I know a lot of people are saying Pat Pete's going to be on him and he's not going to perform, but I got Jeffrey in this one. I'm starting him this week.
Okay. My start of the week in this one is Carson Wentz. We know he can generate points on the pass, especially for those of you guys who are in a PPR league. He can generate some point. If he makes his first and second reads, if no one's there, he's taking off with the ball. And guess what? He might be a white dude, but he's got some speed. He's got some wheels. Watch out for Carson Wentz. KDG, what do you think?
You know what? I'm not the biggest fantasy guy, but if I had to, because I'm more of a FanDuel person.
Okay. So just tell us your prediction for the game, then, I guess.
This game. I agree with Alex said, man. The Eagles right now are looking like the best team in the East. I actually had them as an X factor to win the division. Giants, which we already know what's going on with them.
Right.
But I'm going to roll with the Eagles.
I'm going with the Eagles. Okay.
I'm going to roll with the Eagles on this one.
Okay, so we're all on the Eagles. Excellent. Next up, we got the 2-2 Jacksonville Jaguars facing the 3-1 Pittsburgh Steelers, who, by the way, got a huge win, 26-9 victory against my Baltimore Ravens last week. Fun fact, this is not the first time they won 26-9. They've actually, one of their previous wins was also 26-9. So that's apparently appears to be a very special number to them. Le'Veon Bell, we've been talking crap about him for 4 weeks now. That can come to a complete stop right now because he looks to any bit of rust that he did have on him, he shook it off against the Ravens. And actually, he's going to look even better this week because Jacksonville, their run defense is the worst in the league. However, their pass defense is the best in the league. What's that tell you? Pittsburgh got to run it. They got to run it down their throats. This is going to be a closer game than you might think because if, in fact, Jacksonville run defense steps up and they're not able to run the ball, Pittsburgh's not able to run the ball well, this is going to be a shootout, I believe. And I'm only going to give the slight edge to the quarterback position, quarterback play. Right now, as it stands right now, I trust Big Ben more over Blake Bortles. I'm giving a slight edge to the Steelers playing at home. And I think my start of this game would have to be Le'Veon Bell because I trust that stat line remains for Jacksonville's lowest ranked run defense. My start of this game is definitely Le'Veon Bell. Alex?
So I've officially canceled my subscription to the Blake Bortles fan club. Last week in New York, Bortles had opportunity after opportunity to make plays and win the game. Just could not come through. Came up short every time. The Jaguars can run the ball. Their defense is good, maybe even great. Right. But they have a QB that, quite frankly, is an albatross. The Steelers' defense is sneaky good. Fun fact, they're allowing the second fewest points per game through week 4, which is shocking to me.
That is shocking.
They have, I did not expect that coming into the year. They look like they have Le'Veon Bell back, firing on all cylinders. And, they're playing at home. So I have Pittsburgh winning this one and covering the 8-point spread. I think Le'Veon Bell is a great, if you got him, you got to play him this game. It's going to be a good one. I would also say anybody on the Steelers offense, the Antonio Brown, Ben Roethlisberger, heck, even their tight ends, and just play anybody on the Steelers. I think this one's going to get out of hand really quick. So but Steelers all the way.
Okay, KDG.
Likewise, I have the Steelers. They're at home. They're good at home, even though they have a lot of stuff going on in the locker rooms. It appears like Big Ben calling out Antonio Brown. It's a lot of stuff going on with the Pittsburgh Steelers internally.
I mean, honestly, I don't blame Big Ben for calling him out because Antonio Brown, we've never seen him pull that. He had a mental breakdown where he's clearly wide open. Yeah, he should have been throwing the ball in the play, but there's no reason to have that kind of reaction, especially when you're up 2 touchdowns at that point already.
All right.
So, all right. So I guess we're all on the Pennsylvania teams. We're all 3 on the Eagles, all 3 on the Steelers. Here's where things might get a little bit interesting. Well, maybe not. The 2-2 Tennessee Titans taking on the 1-2 Miami Dolphins. This is going to be Miami's first. This is going to be their home opener of their schedule, which means that you Miami Dolphins fans, if you're going to be in attendance or watching the game, you'll get to see Jay Cutler have his hands on his hips in person, live at home at the Sun Life Stadium. You can tell Jay Cutler is not the biggest fan of the Wildcat. I thought that was absolutely hilarious how he had his hands on his hips like a disappointed parent who found out that his kid intercepted the report card. Anyway, Miami fans right now, they're at a loss of words because they scored 0 points last week. They lost 0-20 last week. And I think a lot of them are blaming two things. Number one, the travel, so much travel that they have to do. They're in London, and they got to go on the West Coast, and back on the East Coast. There's a lot of travel. And then also the hurricanes. The hurricane really messed them up. Alex can attest to this. He's a Buccaneers fan. His team also got the unfortunate Week 1 bye. So we'll see.
Well, they're well rested now.
You can look at it that way. You can definitely look at it that way. But I think this is the game where if Cutler struggles, I think he gets the yank. They yank him and replace him with Matt Moore, as ugly as that may sound. Right now, I don't know what the problem is to this Miami Dolphins team. Is it Jay Cutler, the quarterback, or is it the offensive line? I don't know. But at the same time, as disgusting as this may sound, you might think Jay Cutler at quarterback sounds gross, but think about the Titans. KDG alluded to this earlier. Mariota's out. Who's going to start? Matt Castle. They got Matt Castle starting. I don't know about that. I'm going to take Jay Cutler and the Miami Dolphins over any team that Matt Castle gets control of. So I'm taking the Dolphins, winning at home. And my start of this week is actually going to be Jarvis Landry, for this game because Titans defense not that great. And I think they're pretty loose when it comes to pass defense. I'm taking Jarvis Landry in this one. Alex?
So I was wrong about the Dolphins this year. I thought Cutler would be able to come in, familiar offense, make them a wild card threat. It's not happening. It's just not going to happen. The Dolphins defense has done its darndest to keep Miami competitive, but the offense is just not doing anything well. They're not running the ball well. They're not passing the ball well. However, I don't think Mariota starts this game because they went out and they signed Brandon Weeden, which means
that's true.
They signed a third quarterback, which means Matt Castle's probably starting this game. With that, I think this is the best opportunity for the Dolphins to pick up a win at home in a close, ugly fashion. I agree with you. I think the leash on Cutler is a little bit shorter than we might think. I think Matt Moore might be in this game. And then as far as someone to start in fantasy this week, I would say any running back on the Tennessee Titans, whether you have Derrick Henry, whether you have DeMarco Murray, if Matt Castle is playing that game, they're going to be handing it off quite a bit.
Fair enough. KDG?
With Mariota potentially being out, and I'm pretty sure he will be, I'm just going to roll with the home team on this one. This is pretty much, to me, it's a toss-up.
And I don't mean to cut you off, but I'm pretty sure it's confirmed that Mariota is 100% out.
Yeah, so I'm going to roll with the home team.
Okay. So you got the Miami Dolphins for similar reasons. All right. That takes us on over to this is going to be, there's some storylines in this one, boy, I tell you what. We got the 0-4 LA Chargers taking on the 0-4 New York Giants. All right, guys, media, everybody, cue all the Eli Manning, Phillip Rivers drafted in the same year trading for each other talk. All right? These are both teams. These two teams are actually splitting mirror images of each other for all intents and purposes. I think the key for the victory, if you're the Giants, is you got to keep Eli upright. That offensive line, oh my goodness, it's so bad. I think a matchup to watch here, this is my key. If Eric Flowers can get his mind right and actually play some form of good, just do his job. He only has one job. If he can do his job versus some guys who aren't chopped liver, he's going up against guys like Melvin Ingram and Joey Bosa. Dude, that is not easy. I don't know if he can do it, but I'm giving a slight edge to the Giants only because they're playing at home. And I think this week I'm hoping Eric Flowers gets his game in order. For this game, if you have any fantasy players, I strongly suggest sitting them. I don't care who it is. You just can't rely on them. You can't rely on them. I'm going to sit in everyone for this game. Alex, what do you think?
This is another matchup that's hard to call because it's two 0-4 squads. It's like the incredibly movable object against the stoppable force. I don't know who's going to win here. Neither one of these teams is a playoff team. I think that's very clear by now. I hate to break it to Giants and Chargers fans. I was with you. I thought both of these teams had wild card aspirations, but right now they're both jockeying for draft position. I have the Giants only because they're playing at home. But you talking about Eric Flowers blocking and only having one job, I think that's a little too much for him. I don't know what the answer is with him. I don't know if they move him to right tackle or if they move him to guard or if they move on completely. But that dude and that O-line in general is just an absolute tragedy. But I do have the Giants here. Just don't play anybody on either team in fantasy. Don't play either. Maybe OBJ. That's it. That's it.
All right, KDG. KDG, you still there?
Oh yeah, I'm here.
Okay.
Yeah. This game, man. Like I said, I had the Giants potentially winning the division earlier in the year. It's hard for me to see them as an 0-4 team, potentially going 0-5 against a Chargers team who's actually better than their record as well. So I'm gonna roll with the Giants only because I believe that the Chargers secondary is still injured. I'm not sure if I think it was Casey Hayward that got hurt. One of the corners did get hurt. I'm not sure if they're gonna be out for this game. But I'm gonna roll with the Giants only because they got going late last week. They could have won that game as well. They lost to a field goal to the Buccaneers, like they lost to a field goal to the Eagles. So the Giants could easily be 2-2 right now. So I'm gonna roll with the Giants to get a home win.
Okay, so
over the Chargers.
So they're gonna kill the drought. They finally get.
I think so. I think
someone's gonna have to get a win.
Turn it around.
Two winless teams facing each other. Someone's gonna get this win. All right. So I guess we're all on the Giants in this one. Speaking of winless, we've got the 0-4 San Francisco 49ers taking on the barely, almost could be winless Indianapolis Colts. They're sitting at 1-3, playing at home. Indianapolis still, unfortunately, without Andrew Luck. But, put an asterisk next to that, unfortunately, because Jacoby Brissett played very good last week against Seattle, a very formidable opponent. San Francisco defense also looked good. They looked great getting after Carson Palmer. But then again, like I said, I don't think the Arizona Cardinals are a great team. So you can also put an asterisk next to that. This one really, I don't know what else to say about it. Aside from the fact, Colts are playing at home and Jacoby Brissett looks great right now. He looks like a really good quarterback. And I think he's going to dip, dot, and dive these San Francisco 49ers. If you have him in your fantasy league, that's the only guy I can see you possibly starting in this one. Start Jacoby Brissett if you have him. Even if he's on your bench, start him because that 49ers defense is not that great. I'm taking the Colts. Alex?
So this game is really hard for me because I think both teams have I disagree with you on the Colts. They have not impressed me, and Jacoby Brissett hasn't really either. It's just in my opinion. Both of these teams have struggled with quarterback play to an extent. The 49ers much more so. I think Brian Hoyer, I've been saying it every week, is not a starting NFL quarterback. We should know this by now, but he continues to find himself in starting quarterback jobs. I don't know how he's like the next Brandon Whedon, even though he's, I think, the same age. Anyway, the good news is the Colts get Andrew Luck back soon. I think he practiced this week. I'm picking the Colts just because of home field advantage. But this is practically a coin flip to me. I really had to spend too much time picking this one. And then if you're going to start someone, start Carlos Hyde or Frank Gore. I think both of those guys will have decent games and might see the end zone at least once. Okay.
KDG?
Yeah, I got the Colts as well in this one. Only because that they're at home. Both teams, like Alex said, are struggling with quarterback play. Even though I think Jacoby Brissett, he did. I think outside of that that second half, I think he did pretty decent in that first half against the Seattle Seahawks. It was in Seattle. It's a hard place to play, especially once that defense gets going. So I'm gonna roll with Jacoby Brissett only because they've already won a game. I believe that he can get the job done at home against a 49ers team that's been struggling as well.
Okay. Alrighty. Next up, we got the 3-1s versus the 1-3s. 3-1 Buffalo Bills taking on the 1-3 Cincinnati Bengals. Man, oh man. Cincinnati appears that they found something good under Bill Lazor as offensive coordinator. However, as my boy Stephen A. Smith would say, clearly, the Bills right now are coming off of a really big win against Atlanta. 2 really great weeks in the NFL. We talk about quality of wins. Bills got it. They took down the Broncos and they took down the Falcons. And Cincinnati is facing 2 back-to-back road games, outside of division road games. This is going to be tough for them. I'm taking the Buffalo Bills playing away, going into Cincinnati and getting this win. As for who I'm going to start in this game as far as fantasy goes, tough to say. I think the real winner here is if you have Buffalo defense, start them because they're good for a couple picks. Start Buffalo defense. Alex?
Yeah, the Bengals this last week looked really good against the Browns, but then again, everyone has this year. So I still have reservations about the Bengals' ability to move the football against a respectable defense. And unfortunately for them, this week they're facing the best defensive unit in football in the Bills. They've allowed the fewest points per week of anybody in the NFL. I have the Bills in an upset on the road. And if you're looking to start somebody, I think Bills D is a great play. I think Shady McCoy is also a great play. He's having a good year. And then Tyrod Taylor, sneaky good, man. Doesn't really, blow you away, but he will put up points.
Okay. KDG?
Oh, you know what? I'm going to roll with the Bills as well. I mean, they're coming off of that high win over the Atlanta Falcons. I feel like they probably feel like this is the best chance for them to take control of the division. Patriots are already 2-2. If they can get another win and be up 4-1, I feel like this may be the best opportunity for them to actually take over that division. So I'm gonna roll with the Bills myself.
Okay, all right, sounds good, man. Next up, we got the 2-2 New York Jets. 2-2 New York Jets. I thought for a second that they were. Had more wins than that. But no, they're definitely 2-2, taking on the 0-4 Cleveland Browns. I don't need to double-check myself on that one. I know they're 0-4. The Cleveland Browns, oh my goodness, playing at home. Jets are 2-0 at home and 0-2 on the road. So with that logic, you would think, all right, maybe the Browns will win this one. However, that's the second however, for those of you guys keeping track at home, Kaiser currently has the worst passer rating in the league at 50.9. And I know I'm a guy that praised him in previous weeks, saying, "Oh, he's got a bunch of weapons, and they've given this kid the tools that he needs to be successful. He's just not using them for whatever reason." I think the Jets secondary right now is holding opponents less than 200 yards per game, which if you're doing that, you're doing great things. Jets defense. Granted, last week they played against the Jaguars in an OT game, which should have been over earlier. It shouldn't have gone into OT, but that's just my opinion. Fun stat here, when Josh McCown throws for 200 yards or more, they win. And when he doesn't, they lose. And right now, Browns' pass defense is second worst in the league. Second to only New England, obviously. So I'm going to give the slight edge to the New York Jets. Jets. And as far as starters in this one, I don't see a good start. If you have a Jets or a Browns player on your team, you're probably not doing too well. So bench them and try to find someone else on the waiver wire. That's my opinion. Alex, what about you?
So the Browns are 0-4 and look no further than the QB position to see why. Deshaun Kaiser has a 15.3 QBR. through week 4. That's really bad. Hugh Jackson has made it clear that Kyrsh has a long leash as a starter. He came out this week, said, I expect him to start all 16 games, which is a little shocking to me, but they're clearly committed to Kyrsh at the QB position. So he's going to have to figure it out. Meanwhile, the Jets have exceeded expectations, albeit against soft opponents. This is a tough one. I'm going to go with the Browns since they're playing at home. And the reason why is they're getting Myles Garrett back this week. I think the pass rush might get a little bit better, puts a little bit of pressure on McCoy. I actually like the Browns D. But if you're looking for a good start in fantasy football, I would say Jets D might be a good streaming option if it's available in your league. In addition to that, Bilal Powell might be a good one if you're, looking for a flex play. But otherwise, I would kind of stay away from this game. You don't want to watch it anyway. It's not going to be pretty.
Yeah, I'm pretty sure this game's blacked out, even if you're in Cleveland. KDG?
Yeah, like I said, I'm pretty sure this is going to be an ugly game. I don't know what the Jets are doing. I figured them coming into the season, they was going to, hang it up. I figured they was going to tank it out. I actually have a friend of mine on Twitter that hates every time that they're winning. So I think they're going to win again over the Browns. Even though they're on the road, I have the Jets over the Browns in this one.
Okay. Anybody you'd start if you were playing fantasy or FanDuel?
Fantasy, and yeah, if I was playing fantasy and Kyrsh is the quarterback, I will go with the Jets defense.
Okay. So that's your fantasy lock of the week then.
Yeah, that's probably my best advice.
Okay.
Out of all the games, that'll be the one I go with.
Okay. Next up, we've got the 3-1 versus 3-1s. 3-1 Carolina Panthers taking on the 3-1 Detroit Lions. Detroit playing at home in those new crispy jerseys that I love so much. They look great. Detroit clearly
they are nice.
Clearly one of the best uniforms in the league right now. Interesting matchup to see here, though, is Cam Newton versus Matt Stafford. Two QBs operating at a very, very high level right now. Cam Newton, dare I say, looking like the Cam Newton of his rookie year. Looking very good, despite the shoulder injury and everything. Cam Newton's QB option looked amazing. It looks superb against New England's defense, but then again, it's New England's defense. What else can you expect? Their defense sucks. Detroit running the ball, looking pretty good, and their Detroit D-line looking extra good. I don't know, to be honest, I don't know if Cam Newton can pull off what he pulled off last week against this Detroit Lions defense. I don't think they're going to be having it. I hands down think Cam Newton's not going to do as well this week as he did in previous weeks. I'm going to go ahead and say Detroit Lions win this one at home, and they put an end to this read option offense. I'm taking the Lions. And my start of this week, dare I say, who should I start this week? I'm going to say go ahead and start Matt Stafford. Go ahead and start him. He's a pretty good lock. And like I say, he's playing very good. He's going to be on the field quite a bit. Because that Lions defense is no joke. They might come up with a couple turnovers and put Stafford up on the field more than usual. So that's my pick. Alex?
This is an interesting matchup between two teams with incredibly inconsistent offenses, and they've had really good defense to kind of bail them out. It's shocking to think the Panthers are 3-1. Like you could tell me they were 1-3, and I'd believe you. If I wasn't paying attention so much to the NFL season. Cam Newton and the offense last week looked really good, but it was against an awful Patriots unit, like you said. Facing an impressive Lions defense, which has really surprised us this year, I think he's going to struggle again. And when it comes to Matt Stafford, I've been saying it all year. I think he's an elite quarterback. I think he's top 5 in the league. So even though the Panthers defense is going to be really good, I think Matt Stafford will rise above, so to speak. So I'm taking the Lions. I have them covering the 2.5-point spread. If you're looking to start someone this week, I think Stafford's a good play. He's available in a lot of leagues. Amir Abdullah had a sneaky good game last week.
Thank you for telling me about that. Thank you for reminding me. Yes, Amir Abdullah played very well.
I think he was the first 100-yard rusher on the Lions since Reggie Bush in like 2011. Like, it's been a while since they've had a 100-yard rusher in a game, but Amir Abdullah is a really good play. And then Lions D, I mean, if it's available in your league, you're looking for a defense, they might be able to get a couple turnovers, because I'm still not sold on Cam Newton's shoulder, and he might turn it over a couple times. So that's what I got.
Okay. KDG?
As a Packer fan, I'm going to need the Panthers to take care of one for me, because the Lions got us. They put us some pressure on the Packers this year, man. They 3-1, we 3-1.
Yep.
Even though Detroit does have these hot starts, they tend to fizzle off late in the season. But Detroit at home, I'm going to roll with the Panthers on this one, only because they're coming off of that win over the Patriots. I feel like this will make the Panthers go back to probably where they feel like they were at a couple of years ago. They need to build off of that momentum. I think this is a game that they do that. And I got the Panthers over the Lions.
Panthers over the Lions. Okay. So are you going different direction than me and Alex? That's okay. It's more
something like that. Something like
that way.
Yeah.
All right. Next game. I wish I didn't have to talk about this game. I wish I could just move on, but I promised Alex I would, because that would be really scummy if I didn't talk about this. We're talking about the 2-2 Baltimore Ravens taking on the 2-2 Oakland Raiders. This one's playing in Oakland. Unfortunately, and yes, I'm saying this as a Ravens fan, unfortunately, Derek Carr is out 2 to 6 weeks with an injury. I believe it's his back again. I mean, a lot of Ravens fans would probably praise the fact that Derek Carr is out, but I just don't think it's good for the NFL for Derek Carr to be out. I mean, he makes the game exciting to watch. It makes for the NFL product to be more watchable. So it's not good for the game. It's certainly not good for the Oakland Raiders because with him out now, it's E.J. Manuel taking the helm, looking good. Hey,
I thought he looked pretty good myself in that Denver's game.
Yeah, dude. E.J. Manuel started 8 for 8 on his first 8 passes, then threw 1 interception. But let's face it, 8 for 8. I mean, that's pretty good. That's a great start for as little time as he played. And he'll be taken on against my beloved Baltimore Ravens, who currently have a very, very struggling offense. We are ranked 30th in the league as far as offense. You could probably find a snail that moves the chains better than we do. However, what helps us out here is that the Oakland Raiders defense aren't really playing the best brand of football right now either. I'm going to say, because I just mentioned defense, I think this game, due to the fact that Derek Carr is out and E.J. Manuel is prone to making mistakes, I mean, same thing could be said for Flacco, absolutely. Flacco, that's a different story. He's just not playing well. I think he's on the road to this being his last year in Baltimore. I would be surprised, or rather, I would not be surprised if at some point during this year, whether it's week 8 or it's just before, towards the end of the year when all the firings take place, they bench him. I would not be surprised. I'm taking Baltimore in this one only because I think their defense is going to come alive versus a backup quarterback in E.J. Manuel. I'm taking the Ravens. Alex?
Yeah, the Ravens have been far from impressive, and they've been mightily inconsistent this year. The last game I watched, it was like drive to drive. Yep. I didn't know what I was getting from the Baltimore Ravens. Yeah. But it's really hard to ignore the Derek Carr injury here. It's also worth noting that the Raiders could potentially be without Michael Crabtree. It looks like he might play, but he's going to be banged up. I don't know. I have zero faith in E.J. Manuel as an NFL starter. That's been tried time and time again. It never worked. And even if the Ravens are on the road, I'm taking the Ravens in an upset. I don't really have a fantasy play in this game. I don't think this is going to be a pretty game, and I don't think anybody's going to have a killer day.
Okay. KDG?
With the Raiders missing their quarterback and Derek Carr, I feel like this would be a game that the Ravens could take advantage of, especially with them being at home, having a bounce-back week to turn this ship around.
Ravens are playing away.
Ravens are on the road, excuse me.
Ravens on the road, yeah.
Even so, even though Ravens are on the road, with EJ Manuel being the quarterback, even though I said he looked pretty good against that Denver's offense, I feel like with him having a full game, you probably see a different version of EJ Manuel against I want to say a top 5 defense in the Baltimore Ravens. And I think this will be the game that the Ravens could take advantage of offensively, turn things around, and come away with a W. It may not be a pretty W, but I think it's a W that they could walk away with and build some momentum off of. So I'm going to roll with the Ravens over the Raiders.
Okay. And shout out to J Money. Notice in the chat, he says he recommends if you got Justin Tucker, definitely start him this week in fantasy because the Ravens.
Oh, yep.
We can move the chains. We can get into the red zone. We just can't get the touchdown. We can't get into the promised land. But Tucker's usually good for gold, so start Tucker. He's good for like 12 points a week at this point. Only a few more games left in this week. Only a few more games. I think there's like 4 teams on a bye this week. I can't really name them out. I know that there are 4 teams on a bye. We got the 2-2 Seattle Seahawks going up against the 3-1 LA Rams. LA Rams playing at home. I don't really have much to say about this. I think this is going to be a very good game. This is, to me, the second best game of the week. You're going to see an interesting matchup in Bobby Wagner on that Seattle Seahawks defense going up against Todd Gurley, which Gurley plays right now on the league's highest scoring offense. I think the Rams are going to need to. They have to. It's not an option. They're going to need to run the ball effectively against Seattle in order to win. They don't. If they don't and make Jared Goff pass all over the place, then they got some problems. But I think I have faith that the LA Rams, I'm jumping on the hype train. I think that they are for real. They're proving it on the scoreboard. They're proving it on the stat sheets. They can score points. They can lay it on you, and I don't think it stops here. I think they're going to bulldoze the Seattle Seahawks and move on to 4-1. My start of this week, I just mentioned him, Todd Gurley. There's no stopping him. Alex?
So the Rams have been a pleasant surprise this year. Jared Goff has been an absolute revelation. Todd Gurley is back to his old self, and shockingly, as you pointed out, the Rams are scoring the most points per game this year. With the Rams playing at home, I have them winning against the Seahawks, who have been pretty good, even at 2-2. They've looked pretty good. I think this is going to be the best 4 p.m. Eastern time game to watch, because I think the winner of this game goes on to win the NFC West. I know we're early in the year. I think this is going to set the tone. I have the Ravens winning this one. I'm sorry, not the Ravens. I have the Rams winning this one because they are at home. And like I said, I think they're going to go on to win the NFC West this year. It's a big shock to me. Jared Goff is a solid play. I think Todd Gurley is still a solid play, even though the Seahawks defense is pretty stout. And then don't sleep on, what's his name? Sammy Watkins. A lot of people dropped him earlier in the year. He's a good play too. So, KDG, what do you got, man?
You know what? I think this will be a good game. Even when the Rams were bad for like the last 2 years, they were still able to get a W over the Seattle Seahawks. And so I have them coming away with a victory over the Seattle Seahawks this game. Don't be fooled. I'm not gonna say don't be fooled. I'm not gonna be fooled by that victory that the Seahawks had last week against the Colts, because at half it was a game. The Seahawks were down by 5 points going into that second half. They've been known to play better at home, and so with them now being on the road, going up against a hot Rams team right now, I think this will be the game. If the Rams can take this W over the Seahawks, that's when I'll start taking them serious. They started off like this last year. I believe they started off 3-0 or something like that last season.
They started
even
off
though I believe they're much better. They started off 4-0 last year?
Yeah.
I believe that they're an even better team than what they were last year with better coaching. If they can get a W over the Seattle Seahawks this weekend, take them more serious. I agree with Alex. I feel like this game will determine who's going to win the division. Even though it's still early, I think this will be the game that the next level. Even though they beat the Cowboys last week, they beat the Seahawks.
This is your put up or shut
that will
up
take them
game,
to the
then.
next level.
Is that right?
What?
You said this is your put up or shut up game, right?
This is the game. This is the game right here for the Rams.
All right. So KDG says that there's some storylines looming in this one for whoever wins it. Coming off here in my opinion, 3-1 Green Bay Packers taking on the 2-2 Dallas Cowboys. In my opinion, I think this is the best game of the week. And again, I'm not saying it just to pander to the Packers fan in the room, that being KDG. I genuinely do believe that this is the best game of Week 5. You're going to see Aaron Rodgers go up against a Rod Marinelli-ran defense. Dallas can stay. They have the luxury of staying in cover 2-man defense all day, every day against Green Bay, because guess what? Green Bay, unfortunately, has no run game. And I know it hurts for me to tell you that. Yeah, we're going to get to your opinion in a second. But I'm saying Ty Montgomery is a huge loss for that team. Look at how he had the first 7 out of 9 touches against that Thursday night Packers-Bears matchup, and he looked phenomenal until he got the rib injury. However, the fact that they don't have a running game doesn't mean they don't have a running game. And what I mean by that is Aaron Rodgers, he can get some yards. I mean, we talked about that sneaky white guy speed by Carson Wentz. Dude, Aaron Rodgers got it too. You know, he can move the chains with his feet. I think what especially helps the Packers here is that extended rest that they have after playing the Bears on Thursday Night Football. If Dallas loses this one, it's going to be bad for them, because what that means is they have 2 back-to-back home losses. You never want to lose at home. Home games have to be your bread and butter. You have to win home games. I wish that were true for my Ravens, but it's not. I'm actually going to take the Packers to win this one. I think they're going to dot up the Cowboys, and the Cowboys don't have a really great defense. They're going to lose their 3rd straight at home this year. My start of this week is Aaron Rodgers. Got to go with Aaron Rodgers. If he's on your fantasy team, like, why even contemplate putting him on your bench? Pop him in a starting role. It's going to work out well for you. I doubt he's going to throw a pick at all. And the Packers are going to move to 4-1, which, you know, KDG, I know he's going to be excited to talk about this one. But before we do, Alex, what's your opinion?
And I'm shocked that Vegas has the Cowboys as the favorites here. They didn't look so great last week. The Rams are a good football team, no doubt. Okay, I really am a big believer in the Rams, but the Cowboys blew that game last week. They had a lot of opportunities to win it. They didn't do it. While the Dallas offense is respectable and they show that they can still run the ball, their defense is kind of like the Patriots. Like, they just can't stop anybody. The bad news for them is Aaron Rodgers is coming to town. And despite the injuries for that team, I think they're going to pass all over the Cowboys. I have the Packers in an upset here. And if you're looking for a fantasy play, I think Randall Cobb is a guy who's not getting a lot of starts in fantasy football, but he's putting up really good stats. So he might be available in your league. You might be able to swing a trade for him. I would start Randall Cobb. I have him starting in one of my leagues this week.
Okay. KDG, the moment you've been waiting for. Talk to me. Talk to us about these Green Bay Packers, man.
All right. Well, first of all, let me address the running back situation. Now,
okay,
we all know Ty Montgomery has been a fantasy guy for most teams, for most people.
Right.
He has been able to have a lot of all-purpose yards. He catches the ball out the backfield. He runs the ball out the backfield. But there's another guy that I can see that, even though I don't think this is going to be a run-heavy game for the Packers, I think they're going to be passing it. But I think they can steal some runs out of this guy called Aaron Jones. He's the guy that came in that finished out the game for the Packers against the Bears. He actually had a touchdown, his first touchdown of his career against the Bears. His running style, I like it. I think I expect to see a lot more from him this game. But Cowboys have been losing that secondary. They have rookies out there. Sean Lee is supposed to be out this game from a hamstring injury, who's the captain of their defense. Aaron Rodgers in Jerry World always shows up and back there again. I can see this being an ugly win, at least from a Packers fan perspective. I want this to be an ugly win. I don't want this to be close like I was in the playoffs. I want them to have their foot on the gas the entire time. Y'all know where I'm going with this. I got the Green Bay Packers over the Cowboys.
Doesn't surprise me in the least. And I know you're not a homer because I listened to your podcast. And I know that you don't always pick on your team to win, so that builds a lot of respect when you don't always go with the home team, being that you're a Packers fan. So, winding it down now, our Sunday Night Football match of the week is the 4-0, the only remaining 4-0 undefeated team, Kansas City Chiefs, playing away to the 2-2 Houston Texans, who, man, oh man, did they play a great game last week with a 57-14 win over Tennessee. I don't know. I mentioned this earlier. I think Houston right now is clearly okay. Here's a fourth time I'll say it. Clearly the best team in the AFC South right now. Deshaun Watson looks absolutely amazing. He got 5 touchdowns last week. Amazing. But on the other end, to Alex Smith and Kansas City defense, to me, tit for tat, quarterback to quarterback, defense for defense, I'm liking the matchup for the Kansas City Chiefs, even though they're playing away. I'm going to go ahead and say Kansas City Chiefs win this one and remain undefeated, go 5-0. And my start of this week has got to be Hunt. You'd be crazy not to start Hunt. Kareem Hunt, he's taking the league by storm right now. One of the standouts in the league. Start him if you have him. Alex?
So the Texans looked really impressive last week. Deshaun Watson is showing tremendous progression week over week. However, they have a tough challenge ahead. You know, there's no Matt Castle coming into the middle of this game, even though he used to play for the Chiefs. Like, they've got Alex Smith, a really good Kansas City defense, and Kareem Hunt to deal with. I think the Chiefs are the best team in football right now. I have the Chiefs winning this one, covering the 1-point spread. This is a really easy bet, I think. So if you're a betting person, take the points. Well, don't take the points. Take the Chiefs to cover the spread. And if you're looking for a fantasy play, I think the Chiefs D is a good one. I mean, they're available in a lot of leagues, and I think they could make Deshaun Watson make some mistakes.
Okay. KDG?
I guess I got to be the odd man out right here. I'm going to roll with the Texans over the Chiefs. I think this is the week that they get their first loss. If you look at how they played against the Redskins, it was a close game. And I think the Texans are a better team than the Redskins. And so even though they dropped 57 on the Titans, we already know that's not going to happen again.
Right.
But I feel like the Chiefs, I think this is the week that they take it off. They coming off. I guess it'll be a short week for them compared to the Texans, seeing as they played this Monday night. So I'm gonna roll with the Texans in this one. I got the Texans over the Chiefs.
Okay, all right. He's going against the grain here. Again, Kansas City Chiefs are only a 1-point favorite, but still against the grain nonetheless. Taking on he's picking the Texans to win on Sunday Night Football. I respect that. Our final game for Week 5 is none other than, before I talk about this, I want to say if you intend on calling in on the show, we're going to be taking live call-ins from the audience right now, right after this Monday Night Football coverage. Go ahead and jump into Discord chat. There's a lobby called NFL Talk Live Waiting Room, or it's called Show Call-ins. It's called the Show Call-ins. Go ahead and jump in there. We'll be pulling you in one by one, and you'll be part of the podcast. If you have any questions for me, Alex, a.k.a. Purple Swordfish, or KDG, or if you have a question for us all collectively, or maybe just have a comment, feel free to jump in, and we'll pull you in on the air. So, again, 2-2 Minnesota Vikings taking on the 1-3 Chicago Bears. Bears playing at home on Monday Night Football. We've heard Alex talk about this week in and week out, almost all 4 weeks straight. I can't wait to hear what he says about this. But he's had a strong opinion on Mitchell Trubisky. Mike Glennon appears to be done. They've officially named Trubisky the leader, the quarterback in Chicago. And what a way to start off your career, starting off your very first NFL game, then a division rival. And I call this a trial by fire because that Minnesota Vikings defense is really good. Tough defense. And Trubisky doesn't have a lot of playmakers out there. He's going to have to make some alchemy out there, make something out of nothing because my Minnesota Vikings defense will eat him up. However, the Vikings on offense don't have Dalvin Cook. Very, very unfortunate injury. Was it an ACL tear or was it a PCL tear? KDG?
I think I heard ACL.
ACL.
Yeah, that's ACL. He's out.
ACL. Yeah, he's out for the rest of the year. It was a complete ACL tear. I think in order for Chicago to face any kind of chance at any kind of success against this tough Minnesota Vikings defense is they need to get Cohen and Jordan Howard moving effectively. They need both those backs to have big games on the ground. Trubisky can't put it all on his back because we've seen what happens when rookies try to do that. It's almost a guaranteed L. Do I think Chicago can run the ball effectively with what they have against this Minnesota Vikings defense? Absolutely not. I'm going to take the Minnesota Vikings to win this one on Monday Night Football in Chicago against a rookie quarterback and a not-so-successful offense. Alex?
Well, Bears fans are finally getting what they've asked for. So Trubisky's starting this week. It's safe to say the Mike Glennon experiment didn't work out, but I think that's as much on the supporting cast as it is on Mike Glennon. I just don't feel like the pieces are there for a quarterback to be successful. So I implore you, John Fox, listen to reason. Sit Trubisky. Don't ruin a young quarterback. Just don't do it. And I think John Fox is doing this to save his job. I feel like if he brings in Trubisky and through some kind of a miracle, they get some kind of a spark, maybe they steal a win here or there, it's going to save his job. I just think that long term, it's not the right move. I think Trubisky sitting for a year is the best way to go. I think he's going to struggle against the stout Vikings defense. This same Vikings defense victimized the Tampa Bay Buccaneers, who are also a very good team on offense. They're ranked top 10 in the league, justifiably so. I think the Vikings take this one in prime time. And as far as a good start, Latavius Murray, okay. Dalvin Cook being out, that's a right? Good guy to start. Yep, next man up.
Okay. KDG?
It's kind of unfortunate, I feel like, for Mike Glennon, only because I feel like 4 games was too soon, even though they did get a win over the Steelers a couple of weeks ago. I don't understand. They had a plan going into the season, and that was to have Trubisky wait for a year, let Mike Glennon play for the season. They already paid him starter money. Right. So roll with Mike Glennon just to finish out the season. It's still kind of early. I don't know what the Bears' expectations were going into the season, having a 1-3 record. Like I said, they got a good win over the Steelers. I felt like they could have did something more, but putting Trubisky out there this soon and against the Vikings defense of all teams in a divisional game, I just feel like maybe the pressure of the Deshaun Watson success that's going on in Houston forced these guys to start Trubisky faster than what they expected. I don't know what the Chicago Bears are doing. If that was the case, they shouldn't have gave all them picks to draft them. If they knew that they had Mike Glennon going into the season, it was already a mess at draft night. So you can stay patient with Mitchell Trubisky. I don't know how good he can be, but they did say he wasn't ready. So I don't know how he's ready now 4 weeks later into the season. But I think that Vikings game is I don't think that's the good to be debuting him against that defense. I'm pretty sure there's another team down the line that they'll be facing a lesser tier defense. That Vikings defense as is not the best. Even though Chicago is at home, I'm going to roll with the Vikings over the Bears easily.
Easily. Okay.
Easily.
Okay. Alrighty. All right. We've reached the point in our podcast now where if there's anybody who wants to make any kind of comments, if they want to call in, if you have any questions for any one of us, you can go ahead and do so. In the meantime, I'm just going to have to go ahead and say, Alex, this week 4 has been my most successful week as far as picks. Most games right so far. My previous weeks, I've only won a maximum of 9 correct picks. This week, in week 4, I got 4, or I got 10. I got 10 games right, which is always great. What was your record so far?
Well, I'm 9-7 last week. I'm 39-24 on the year.
Oh man!
So I have a slight lead, but I'm certainly not happy with it.
Okay. KDG, have you been keeping track of yours?
You know what? Patriot normally keeps track of it once we do the
Great
podcast. Patriot? Yeah, the Great Patriot. Yeah. I can't give you an exact number. I know I do pretty good in my picks, just to say the least. I do go on some upset picks out there. Sometimes I don't get them right all the time. But I know the Great Patriot right now is ahead of me right now. I think he's up by like maybe 5 picks.
Okay.
Well, I'm doing all right though. I'm doing all right.
You're in the green, in other words. There's a term.
I'm in the green. You know, he's up by 5-6 picks. I don't know how it is now. I won't know until Saturday or Friday.
Okay.
But I should be good because last year I won. The year
I'm barely
in the
green. I'm barely in the green, so I kind of know what I'm talking about. Ever so, I don't know if you know about the bet that's going on, but me and Purple Swordfish actually made a bet at the end of the year. Whoever has the least amount of correct picks will be forced to wear the opposing team's colors. So, for example, if we continue the way we're going right now, and I still continue to have the least correct picks, I will have to, for the final podcast of this year's NFL Talk Live podcast, I will be decked out in Tampa Bay Buccaneers gear. I might even get a Tampa Bay Buccaneers flag in the background. Wave it proudly.
Oh man, that's crazy.
So anyway, that's going to do it for this week's podcast. Thank you so much to everyone who came through. Thank you so much to everyone's been checking us out on SoundCloud. Make sure you like and subscribe to us on there. It helps to boost us up those leaderboards as far as like the sports channels. This has been me and Purple Swordfish. KDG, tell the people exactly what it is you do on your channel one more time and how they can follow you.
Oh yeah, again, just to quickly wrap this up, I am a Packers YouTuber. So if you are a Packer fan, or even if you're a fan of the NFL, I do an NFL podcast every Friday or Saturday, depending on the availability of my co-host. Come through, check it out. If you like what you see, hit the subscribe button, and we'll go from there. Okay, so again, I want to say thank you to both of these guys, Reigning Ravens, Alex. You guys are doing a good thing over here. The production, the quality is A1. I'm pretty sure this is going to take off in no time. So y'all keep it up, and y'all keep showing support to this podcast, because it takes a lot of work to do what Reigning Ravens is doing and behind the scenes. So I respect the quality and what you guys are doing here. So keep it up.
I appreciate that. And the link to his channel is now in the chat as well as in the description. Be sure you check out KDG.
Oh yeah.
With that being said, thank you to everyone who tuned in. Thank you, KDG, for participating, as well as my co-host, Alex, a.k.a. Purple Swordfish. This is Reigning Ravens out, saying goodbye to another week of football. See you next week for Week 6 of NFL Talk Live. See ya.
Thanks so much for listening to this episode of NFL Talk. Thanks so much for listening to this episode of NFL Talk Live with Reigning Ravens 1 and Alex, a.k.a. Purple Swordfish. Streaming weekly on the YouTube channel Reigning Ravens 1 with all the audio archives on SoundCloud. Follow Reigning Ravens 1 on Twitter at Reigning Ravens 1 and follow Alex on Twitter at Swordfish Show. If you'd like to be part of the live call-in on the next episode, make sure to join the Discord server. This podcast is sponsored by Jerky XP. Save money on your order at the checkout by using the code RR1. We'll catch you next time on NFL Talk Live.